Hi everyone, today our guest is Naomi Weiser. Naomi studied abroad in South Korea through an exchange program at Seoul National University. Tune in as she talks about her academic experiences, social life, as well as lessons she learned while there. Welcome, Naomi, to the podcast. Do you want to introduce yourself really quickly and talk a little bit about where you went abroad?
Yeah, hi. My name is Naomi, and I'm a senior at the U of R. I study politics, philosophy, and economics, and Japanese. And last year, I was abroad in South Korea for a full year, and I attended Seoul National University.
Yeah, so Naomi and I know each other a little bit. We lived in the same hall freshman year, and we got to know each other a little bit there. And then we're also part of AK Psi, which is a co-ed business fraternity on campus. But I'm really excited to sit down with you and talk about your experience because Naomi's a little bit unique in that she went abroad for 2 semesters, not one. And that's really something unique to come across. So what made you want to do 2 semesters abroad?
Yeah, so I initially wanted to do a full year, but I thought it wasn't going to be feasible with like transferring credits and stuff like that. So I actually applied for only 1 semester. And then towards the end, I was like, let me just see, because I really liked it there. So I was like, let me just see if it's possible to do another semester. And then I was talking with my advisor and stuff like that, and he was like, yeah, totally, I'll support it, if the school won't let you, I'm a fight for you.
That's
so I was
awesome.
like, okay, I felt so grateful to have an advisor that had my back. But at the same time, just because he has my back, I'm not sure if the school will allow it. So I had to just make sure that everything would be okay. It turns out that it would be, so I have reapplied again. So technically I did 2 semesters, not a full year. And so, yeah, I just had to reapply again and was accepted.
So you reached out more to your advisor when it came to course approval forms and stuff like that, right?
Yeah, so that's the thing. The school that, at least my school specifically, not all the same courses are taught every year. The availability of those aren't exact either. And so it's kind of hard to match up courses from U of R with courses being taught there because the registration times are different, so you don't know what the actual courses are going to be. It was more unique for me as a PPE major because we have something called a thematic concentration where 5 of the courses can be essentially whatever you want as long as they're under some sort of theme.
Yeah.
So I guess my theme was
abroad. So you saved those classes instead of trying to do a theme here.
Yeah.
You took it and did it over there.
And I was trying to also find some equivalents, but that just wasn't really possible. And then my other major is Japanese, so I took a couple Japanese elective courses there, and those I didn't necessarily need an equivalent to courses here for that. So I was pretty lucky in that sense that I didn't need equivalents. I had a lot more freedom in that sense.
So I kind of want to get to know a little bit about what the first semester versus second semester was like for you, because I just want to talk a little bit about my experience. I know for a fact, had I planned earlier, I 100% would have done 2 semesters abroad, but that ended up not being the case for me. But I felt like coming back from my first semester and reflecting on what it was like for me, there's definitely things that I would have done differently and things I would have pursued more. What was the experience like for you going into your second semester? Did anything change in you?
Yeah, I feel first semester, it's right as you hit the end of first semester, that's kind of when you're finally settled, you have some really good friends, you know how to navigate around the city or wherever you are, and maybe you have a little bit more of a grasp on cultural norms and the language, and then suddenly you have to go. So for me, that's why I knew from the beginning that I wanted to do a full year, and that's why I was very grateful that I was suddenly able to do a full year too. Like I said before, I wasn't going in as I had to redo a lot of things again. For example, redoing the visa, student card. For Korea, you need a alien registration card, which takes a really long time. It's also really helpful if you have a bank account as well for many reasons. And so I knew all of these things going into the second semester. They were still difficult though.
Yeah.
Like, even though I knew all these things, I was like facing so many challenges. I ended up not being able to get a bank account second semester too, which was kind of a headache. Advice for anyone going to Korea: try to get your alien registration card ASAP and make your bank account ASAP.
Yeah.
It will make your life easier.
Yeah. So it seems like by the end of the semester, like, you knew what was up. Like, you knew
Yeah.
the area, you knew everything about Korea.
Yeah, for sure. I was like, I finally had a grasp on like geography too, like where things are, like some of my favorite neighborhoods and how to get there and just things like that. Like, even ordering at restaurants too.
Yeah.
Like, I finally was like very comfortable.
Yeah.
Like,
It almost seems like 2 semesters is perfect, in my opinion.
it was kind of perfect, actually.
Yeah. So did you like know the language before you started studying there?
Not really. I am an avid watcher of K-dramas.
Okay.
And I'm a part of Rice Crew on campus, which is a K-pop dance group. So I listen to a lot of K-pop, and by default of that dance group, I was surrounded by a lot of like Korean students, and so I would hear it sometimes. So that's kind of like where my interest grew, but I had never taken formal classes before. I started doing Duolingo before I went, but I didn't really do that much preparation language-wise before going. And then when I got there, I was hoping to take a Korean language class. And SNU has a really nice language program, but it's like a separate school that you have to enroll into. And it just didn't fit with my schedule, so I didn't end up doing that first semester. I don't know, I wouldn't say unfortunately. I do wish that I like had more opportunities to like speak with people and stuff, especially like with classes. But a lot of my classes were, since they were taught in English, by default most students talk to each other in English, which was cool. So I guess like the only opportunities I had to like use the language was when I was like in the city, talking to taxi drivers, at restaurants. There was like this park near my place. This was second semester, and I would go there with my friend, and there's this old lady. She would always come and talk to me, and she would talk about the craziest things. But that was like, honestly, she was like the best language partner.
Yeah. She was like your go-to.
Yeah. So first semester I didn't really get a chance to like practice very much, but second semester I was able to sign up for a language class, and then also just kind of reach out to more native speakers.
Yeah, and I also took a language class like when I was in Barcelona. I think my program required it, but I think I really recommend taking one even if it's not required and if you have space, because even though we were learning like things outside of the language, like just talking to my professor about like daily life, like they give you tips and tricks, like they give you sort of like the rundown on like what it's like there, because that's like the whole theme of like getting to know like a place. So I really recommend someone take classes there.
I agree. Or like even just knowing a little bit or even attempting to speak the language can take you so far. I remember like there was this one day I was having like such a bad day. I think I was having trouble making a bank account actually. Yeah. So, and I like was on my way home, and then I saw this like little food stand. They were selling a bungeopbang, which is like fish-shaped bread. It's sweet. It's like a
I feel like
pastry. Yeah.
Is there like red bean paste inside?
Yes, they're so good. And so I was like, oh, that could save me.
Need.
So I went up and like I ordered in Korean, and the guy, he was so happy. He was like I don't know, I had never seen someone so like enthusiastic at me like speaking really bad Korean. And then he like gave me like 2 extra for free.
Oh my gosh.
And that just like warmed my heart. That really like turned my day around.
Yeah. And what was it like getting to know people at SNU, the university where you studied at?
Yeah, that was really interesting. So I feel like I also kind of had a unique experience in the sense that the courses that I took, most of them were actually with a graduate school. A lot of them were at GSIS, the Graduate School of International Studies. And so this was just because they taught everything in English, and they kind of like had stuff to do with poli-sci, IR type of things.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I ended up taking courses there. But yeah, it was very interesting because they have like cohorts, I guess, with their majors.
Mm-hmm.
And so I became friends with someone from it, and he just invited me to like their, I don't know, getting together party. It was like
with like actual people who are from there.
Specifically for their major, but he was like, shh, it's fine, just like don't tell them.
Yeah.
So I like pretended I was like a part of their major for like a good like month and a half, and then I had to like tell them that I'm not actually a student.
Yeah.
But I think like regardless of that, like even after they found out that I wasn't actually a part of their major, they were still like so nice to me and like very warm. I think like people within the majors get really close with each other. For international students or other students on exchange, I think they all kind of have a similar mindset in the sense that they are very curious, adventurous, want to meet new people and stuff like that. So I would say it was very easy to kind of just like sit next to someone, say hey, and then ask if they want to get lunch or something later. Because everybody is kind of in the same boat. I guess it's kind of like freshman year here.
It honestly does feel like freshman year.
Right?
I felt like the first few weeks, at least specifically of abroad, everyone was like trying to get to know each other. Like it wouldn't be weird to be like, oh, do you want to hang out after this? Do you want to get lunch?
Exactly. I feel like it was the same thing. And like with some students, they would be like, oh, I've been wanting to check out this place, and so we would be like, oh, like let's go together. So we were able to like explore the area together as well. The other thing too is like I didn't even join any clubs, which I, in hindsight, I kind of wish I did, but I was, despite like not being super involved on campus and things like that, like I was still able to have a good social life. And I think that's purely just like the nature of international students and exchange students.
Yeah, because I feel like it's interesting. I mean, I didn't do a direct enrollment. I did like a third-party program, but I feel like it's interesting like going into a university because these people have probably already been here for like what, maybe 2-3 years, and they all know each other. So I feel like you probably have to put a little bit more effort, but you're a great example of like you can make new connections and like you can get to know people by sort of just like putting yourself out there a little bit. But that sounds amazing. Sure. Do you have any relationships that like you still talk to from abroad?
Yeah, I have. Actually, I met them on the very first day of school. I was like kind of lost, and I saw this girl, and I was like, I went up to her and I was like, hey, like, can you help me find this class? And she was like, oh, I'm in that class too.
That sounds like the intro of a K-drama, Naomi.
And so she like takes me to class, and then I'm like standing around awkwardly, and like.
And this is like your first day on campus. Yes. Oh my gosh! And you're probably so nervous.
I was so nervous. And then I was like, hey, can I sit next to you? And she was like, yeah, of course. And then she was like talking to this guy on the other side of the table. And I was like, oh, he looks really cool too. Like, honestly, this was like the most ideal first day ever. After like the class, they were like, oh, like we're hungry. Like, do you want to go to the cafeteria?
That's so casual.
Yeah.
Like,
and I was like, so then we went and I got to like see how like the cafeteria works and everything. And then they were like, oh, like, because you need a student card to access it. And they were like, oh, you don't have a student card? Like, let me show you how to go get it. And so like they took me to do that. They gave me a little tour of the school because I missed orientation day, and so I'm still friends with, and I became friends with them for like the rest of the year. They both graduated, actually. One of them is from Canada, and I'm going to go visit him next month.
Oh my gosh.
And then my other friend, she is from Korea, and I got to visit her over winter break.
But it seems like your abroad experience is like so perfect. I feel like one advice that I give to students is to pick a location that aligns with your interests. Like
100%.
It seems like the style of life and things to do in Korea align with you as a person, knowing you outside of this, I guess, a little bit. And like for me, being in Barcelona was like perfect for me. I like the beach. That was perfect. And the style of life is what I like. So I really would say like it all starts with choosing a place for you. Like, don't get swayed by like where your friends are going, or don't be scared if you haven't really heard of anyone who's gone to that location before. But I would really recommend going to somewhere that aligns with you.
I agree.
I guess now I sort of want to focus on what it was like coming back, because as you were gone for a year, things are still changing, things are still moving along while you were abroad. What was the adjustment like for you coming back?
It was difficult, but not as difficult as I thought. Of course, like with social media, like while I was away, I would see people hanging out, all these things happening back home. And of course, like, I'm human, I get FOMO.
Yeah.
So, but then at the same time, like, I have to be super grateful that I'm experiencing something very unique, something very enriching. And I learned so much from that 1 year. And then coming back, I was like a little bit worried, like, am I going to feel kind of sad, feel like something's missing? And of course I do feel that sometimes, but I also wanted to make it like a goal to keep life interesting, because being in a new place, it's so easy. Like, the default is that it is interesting. Like, you don't have to do any effort to make it interesting, because like left and right, everything's new. Whereas when you come back home, like, everything's still the same, basically. And so it's up to you to, like, make it different or fun or unique. And I felt like I hadn't honestly given Rochester a proper shot. Like, when I came back, I was like, okay, like, maybe I should try and do some of the things that, like, I was doing abroad while I'm here, like visiting cafes or like
exploring the city.
Exactly, and like meeting new people. So I try to maintain some of like my social and lifestyle habits here to kind of like as a continuation. The way I treated like life abroad to be similar here.
That's really beautiful, Naomi.
Thank you.
And let me just say, guys, Naomi is such an interesting person.
Stop.
Before this, she was showing me her YouTube channel. Do you want to give the username of your YouTube?
God. Wait, I'm embarrassed, but you can follow me, you can subscribe. It's with Naomi. I have a bunch of videos from my abroad experience if you want to see like what abroad is like at SNU or life in Korea in general.
But you're so interesting, so I feel like it's not difficult for you to find the interesting things in life, even here in Rochester. And I feel like what you were saying before about trying to bring in a broad mentality back, that's something that I really tried to do too, because I felt like I grew as a person and I learned a lot, and I really tried to apply that to my daily life. Like in Barcelona, I really focused on my mental health, but also my physical health. So when I came back, I really started focusing on my physical health too, just because abroad, like, you have more time, like, you have less responsibilities, I would say. So I really wanted to focus on that here too. But it's all about the lessons you learn. Like, I would not have traded my abroad experience for anything. I learned so much. And even though you're there, you might not think you're learning or you're growing, but you truly are. It's like when you come back and you reflect that you really do realize, like, wow, I was just there and I learned so much.
Yeah, for sure. And I think it's honestly, like, mindset is a huge thing, just staying positive. Like, I had talked to a couple people who had went abroad and came back, and like it was a little bit awkward because they were just trying to be relatable, I guess, and they were like, don't you just hate it here? And I was like, no, like,
I feel like negativity is like the default here.
Yeah, which is like very sad. And like honestly, being away from all of that helped me to kind of cultivate a more positive mindset. And then when I came back, like, I was just working really hard to like maintain that. And I think also like one thing too is like you've made all these connections while you were abroad. Like, it's really good to try to maintain those. The second semester, I made 2 really good friends. They're international. One is from Norway and one is from Finland, and we have a little book club. And so we meet like once a month maybe. And have a little yap session and talk about books. But yeah, I think just trying to like make life interesting, try and be positive the best you can.
And even just thinking about like Rochester life here, we're both seniors. We have 1 more semester left. Like, life will never be like this ever again. Like a random Wednesday at 5:24 p.m. That's our life's not going to look like this come a year from now. So I really think it's really important to appreciate like every single moment. And like, even though I'm sad my abroad experience is over, like, I'm glad it happened. Like, be grateful that you experienced that. And like, same for here. Yeah. It's all about making your life interesting.
Yeah.
And that's such a great mindset to have, like, even whenever you graduate, and like take it with you in your life. But Naomi told me a little bit interesting about what she's doing post-grad. Do you want to tell them really quickly?
Yeah, so I guess I can't stay in one place. I'm stealing this from a friend, but he said that he's chronically untethered, and I feel that. So I will be going to Kyrgyzstan for about 2 years with the Peace Corps, and I'm very excited about it. I'll be teaching English.
How did you learn about that opportunity?
It was actually from that friend who is chronically untethered, and I was talking to him over the summer. He was like, what are you going to do post-grad? I was like, you asked me the forbidden question. Like, why would
don't
you
ask
do
you that.
Like, literally, why? But we just started talking. He was like, well, what do you want to do and stuff? And I was like, well, I really like interacting with people. I've always wanted to do stuff abroad. I'm kind of interested in like diplomacy and stuff like that. And then I started, like, after that conversation, I just went on the website, looked at it, and I was like, what do I have to lose? Like, so I just applied. For the most part, I'm like super excited about it.
Yeah.
And like, I've been talking to like people that are already there, actually, which is cool.
I'm sure also abroad like helped you, like, being okay with that, because I feel 100%. Like there's like a point of abroad, I don't know if you felt this too, but of like homesickness, like, oh my gosh, I miss Rochester, oh my gosh, I miss my family, I miss my home, wherever that may be. So I guess like you being abroad for like a whole year, that like has kind of trained you in a way, I feel, to be ready for like a step further from abroad, like something even bigger than that.
Yeah, I think like since high school, basically, I have had a lot of experiences living abroad, being away from like family, and like trying to make new connections. That like my first abroad experience was in high school. I was in Italy for a semester, and then I did a gap year before coming here, where I was in Japan, and then I did this full year in Korea. So all these abroad experiences like really helped me to like learn about myself, what I need to create a support system for myself. And I think that includes like a lot of self work, but also just creating a lot of relationships with people around you and maintaining those from back home or abroad or wherever.
I guess for like the closing out question, what is a piece of advice that you would give to a student who might be a little bit scared to go abroad?
I guess the piece of advice I would have is, it is so worth it.
Yeah.
Like, think about your future self. Like, there are going to be times where your present self is very scared or doesn't know what they're doing, makes mistakes, but your future self will benefit from that so much. It's going to impact your mindset. You're going to meet so many cool people, have all these experiences, try yummy foods, try bad foods.
Yeah.
Like, you're just gonna live life, basically.
Yeah.
And soon that future self will be your present self. So
yeah, go abroad, guys.
Do it for you.
Do it for yourself. Yes.
Hi, listeners. We'd like to remind you that the opinions expressed by our guests on this podcast do not necessarily reflect the views or opinions of the Center for Education Abroad or the University of Rochester. Our podcast aims to foster dialogue, critical thinking, and exploration of various topics related to education abroad. We encourage listeners to consider multiple viewpoints, engage in respectful discourse, and form their own opinions. Thank you for tuning in and being part of our community.